All right, I got big news. It's our 11-year anniversary. I have been matching people for 11 years. I am the founder and creator of Discover Love Matches. We've changed the business name a few times, but it's all been about matchmaking for 11 years. So I want to jump in and tell you a little more backstory of what got me to become a professional matchmaker and share some fun testimonials over the years of working with singles to find their love match. So back in the early days, when I was in my early 20s, I was a solo parent of a wonderful little boy, and I was running a very successful and busy daycare business out of my home, which meant I was working all day, but then I was often working evenings, weekends, and I had kids overnight. So I wasn't really getting out very much. When I noticed my son starting to call the other daycare kids his dad's dad, I realized, oh, it's time for me to start finding someone for him and to build a family together. So, back in those days, we did not have internet or dating apps or caller ID. It was just the wild world. And so, I pulled out that lovely thing. Any of you remember the yellow pages? And I found a dating service. It was an in office dating service where you would go in, you would get your picture taken, a video, you'd fill out a profile, they'd add you to this big room full of notebooks with everybody's information. And as people were interested, they'd go into the office, they would view new profiles. And then when they found someone that sparked their interest, they would fill out a little form, take it to the front desk. The office desk people would then go ahead and contact that person. If the interest is mutual, they would exchange phone numbers and the process would begin. Well, I was in my super early 20s, as I said. So I got lots of requests, lots of people asking to go out, all ages, all backgrounds. So many people I never ever would have met unless I'd been part of the service. So it was intriguing. It was fun. I would probably say, I said yes to every single date. I think you should. There's nothing wrong unless there's something wrong with like no way a potential match. I went out with everybody because I wanted to be open to the possibilities. This is what I encourage my clients to do. Say yes, say yes. It does work. Well, after a few months of going out on a whole bunch of dates of people that were interested in me, I decided to sit down and go through the list and be proactive about who I wanted to meet. So there was one gentleman that just kept standing out every time I would kind of leaf through the list. And then finally I was like, it's time. I'm going to put in a request. I'm going to be proactive. And I did. They contacted him. A couple days later, my phone rang. Well, no caller ID. So I was able to jump right on and have a conversation with him. And let's just say the conversation went so well that my son got to eat an entire box of popsicles to keep him busy while we kept talking. We went out a few days later and we were engaged shortly thereafter, married a year later. And it was this feeling of like, I had already gone out with a bunch of people. I knew I found the best of the best. And I was really comfortable in making that decision and not being wishy washy in dating that we see so much right now and all the distractions that are happening now. I was able to really genuinely be engaged in this wonderful relationship. And then we had two more kids. We had a great life. Eventually, the marriage faded. Unfortunately, I didn't have the support structure that I give to clients to keep them together. So, what I have found was that here I was single, a mom of three kids. I had them full time and I was juggling how to do everything. And during the time of my marriage, I had done Mary Kay and I'd gone back and done makeup for the people that were part of this. So as I was trying to get ready with my new single life, I kept thinking about remembering back when I did makeup for people and I had enjoyed these benefits of this service. And so it was always kind of in the back of my mind that wouldn't it be cool to be a matchmaker? But I had read it was a lot of work and it was not something that just anybody could do. So I was a bit gun shy to get started. But then one day I got a wild hair and I decided to put a post up on Facebook and say, hey, I don't have a date for Valentine's. Anybody want to go out? Well, a gentleman that I had mutual friendships with, but had never met, invited me on a date. He picked a restaurant, one of my favorites. So good kudos for him. We had a really nice time, but there were no sparks. There was no real connection on my part. He was thinking there was, but I wasn't. And I realized very quickly that there are just so many great people out there that are not getting the right support or tools or introductions to meet one another. So, literally, February 14th was the date, and February 21st, 1 week later, I started my new business. It was just that moment where everything came together and realized this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Over the years, I had also been working with lots of singles and couples doing spiritual work. Well, in the spiritual work, a lot of times people either wanted support to keep the relationship they had and more guidance, or they were single wondering where their person was. Well, I was getting really intense messages and feeling very guided to support people on their love journey. And then it all culminated together, and poof, I became a matchmaker. Now, a little secret, I'd actually never matched a single person before I became a professional matchmaker. I had introduced people in business connections, but never a love connection at all. I just knew I understood the business of it. And I had worked with so many people and I had coached so many people in so many different layers of professionalism and spiritual support that there was something I knew I could do different than other matchmakers had done before. So, hence, I started my business and I had no clue necessarily how I was going to do it. I just knew I was going to do it. So the passion led the way. Well, quickly I was adding clients, making matches, and just loving it. I have so many couples that have met at events, so many couples that have just said, hey, I'm going all in. I'm going to give this a year. I'm going to go out with whoever you say I should go out with and see what happens. Well, those people are happily married. The people that are showing up, participating, enjoying the journey is what the difference I am seeing. I had a client one time come to me. He was just not in a good place. He kind of stepped back and he goes, you know what, through all your coaching, I'm realizing I need to find me again. He came back like about 4 or 6 weeks later, looked amazing. His confidence was different. He ended up running back into an ex who fell madly in love with him again and came to thank me for the work that I had done with him to get her man back to her without them even realizing they had really been missing one another. Love is such an interesting journey. So many times we forget to just show up. So many times I have coached clients that they went on a first date. I know they're a great match, but they're like stuck on something the person said or did that just didn't work for them. They don't want to go out again. I convinced them to go out again, and now they're happily married. This has happened time and time again. We have so many love stories, so many weddings that I've officiated. So many times I'll get a message with a wedding in it, and I'm like, oh, I guess that introduction worked. Not everybody remembers to tell us about their matches being a success. I'll check in with people and go, hey, are you still single? And they're like, oh, yeah, remember that gal I met at your party? Oh, we've been together ever since. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It's the difference of showing up, being proactive, engaging in your own journey. So, just as I signed up for a service and I waited and got asked out a bunch, it took me deciding to step it up and be the one selecting where I was able to find someone wonderful to have a great family with. The thing is that this is your love life. This is your journey. And in 11 years of matching so many great people, I've come to such a strong understanding and acceptance and awareness that this is your life. This is your choosing. This is you showing up. When you show up for your health, your work, your family, your friends, you are more attractive. Being confident is sexy. Being flirty is sexy. Being happy is sexy. And all of these wonderful people that I have been so blessed to unite are people that are showing up. What I love about it is that there are so many times clients have come and hired me and just been like, emotionally it's exhausting. I mean, that's a vulnerable place to be. But they've also said, I can't just keep waiting for life to happen. We have 2 memberships. You can either be in our database, which is like buying your lucky lottery ticket, to where our clients can discover you and we can promote you to our clients, and you just kind of sit back and see what happens. Or you can be proactive and be an executive matchmaking client where we go and search for your person. We go through our list of people, we dig in and get to know you as best as possible to find out the type of person that will click. It's not an algorithm thing. This is about real people introducing real people. And this is why we have so many successful love matches. And even the people that haven't found their love match, they've made friendships, they've built confidence, they've increased their communication, they have found more about what they're looking for because they've been exposed to genuine, authentic, pre-approved people that really want love. You start to realize that there are such good people out there when you get away from all the swiping and just looking at people for their profile and you let them come alive. This is my big thing. One time I remember a client telling me, "Hey, you're my PR." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're my press release to these ladies to help them see why they should say yes to a date with me." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. I hadn't even really thought about it that way, but we are guarded and we are cautious and we are nervous to say and do things." This gives you the opportunity to know that, hey, I actually already think the person's cool. I think you're cool. Why not just say yes? People are so quick to say no. They come up with things. Oh, there's too much age difference. We don't have the same education. We have our interests aren't enough in common. Where, you don't want to date yourself. You want to date somebody new and fresh and inviting, but you'll never know unless you actually show up for the possibilities. So, I want to thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. I want you to believe in your dreams. You might have had a dream put in your heart when you were young, and now it's time to bring it forward. Whatever you think about, you bring about. What matters is that you start showing up, be proactive. If you're looking for your love person, start asking people out. Be the one who chooses who you fall in love with. Don't just react to everybody else. And also give people a chance, give them a few dates to show up. Let them get past the nervousness. First dates are awkward. Give yourself and them a chance because that is a huge part of our success is getting people to hang in there long enough to let the other person be revealed and also to get you to feel a little more vulnerable in the process in a positive way where you're not walking around with such a guard up and cautiousness and really thinking about this is your life. Do you really want to find the love of your life? We know how to find great people for you. We know how to support you, but it's all about what you're ready to engage in. So, hallelujah to our 11th year. I can hardly wait to see what we do in the upcoming year to see how many more love stories we ignite. Oh, yeah, there's another couple moving in together. This weekend, there was another couple that met at an event last year that they've been living together for quite a while. I mean, the list just goes on. I love it, and I'm honored and privileged to support each and every one of you, however you want to show up on your love journey. And guess what? We'll continue this conversation because as we are doing, we have lots more to talk about.